Hey folks, Dave Brown back here with the New Populist. Thank you again for joining me. Of course, everybody is talking about Donald Trump's speech last night at the RNC, and it certainly was an interesting speech. Just the whole mood around his speech and seeing him, Donald Trump, a different man since his assassination attempt. And he's been in the public light for such a long time, and we're so used to a certain energy coming from Trump. To see him clearly, I want to say rattled, but emotional, subdued, obviously very appreciative to be alive. That was a sort of a weird thing to see from him. Somebody so strong and bombastic and full of energy, to see that change. And it had to have been, of course, an emotional week there. He had his grandkids, his kids. Melania showed up last night looking amazing as usual. He had a lot going on. And sometimes, we forget that he's a human being too. He really is. Despite the fact the media spent the last 8 years trying to convince you that he's some sort of weird sociopathic Hitler, devoid of any feeling, that just wants to crush everybody. That's not the case. He's a human being. He's, I think, a lot more compassionate and feeling than people understand. And certainly, we saw him all week at the RNC being much more relaxed, more somber, and again, very emotional. But about his speech, some people think that perhaps he went on a little too long. I am in that camp. I think it was about a half an hour too long. And he did sort of get lost in a couple of places. But that's what Trump does. He goes on, he rambles a little bit, jumps from here to there. He goes off the teleprompter. And people keep thinking that he's going to change, and he's not. He is who he is. He's not going to change his sort of speaking habits, and he's going to do that. So when it happens, you can't really get all annoyed by it. You just have to expect it and accept that's how he is. But the first part of the speech, I think, was the most important, talking about the actual assassination, and just walking through that was, I think, very interesting. And when he said to the crowd, "I'm not supposed to be here," and I really think he meant that. And he said, "By the grace of God, he is still alive." A bullet going past your ear and missing you by this much, or actually hitting your ear and killing you by this much, will give you a new appreciation. I don't care how tough and hard you are. Even Donald Trump could appreciate that, and he certainly felt lucky to be here. And I think that was really a good sentiment he gave off, because who is he trying to appeal to right now? Not that he was necessarily had this aim in mind, but people often talk about how if he was just a little calmer, a little more empathetic, a little softer, not so abrasive, he could reach a bigger audience and a larger voting group. And I think that's what that first half an hour did. I think it showed another side to him that people who maybe didn't like him very much might see that and go, maybe I don't have this guy 100% correct. This guy's not the monster that the media makes him out to be. He is emotional, appreciative to be alive, and much more somber. So I think that from that perspective, that first 30 minutes of the speech was very important. And of course, he honored the fallen firefighter who was killed at that rally, and the two other people who were injured. And that was obviously necessary. And it was well done, and it seemed very genuine. He seemed to be very sort of taken aback and pained by what happened. And certainly he, having almost lost his own life, he can appreciate how horrible it was for this man to have died protecting his family. So that was a beautiful thing to see him do that. How will the speech, affect the race? I think people overreact in the short term, thinking if you thought it was a good speech, you're thinking, oh, the election's over. And if you thought it was a bad speech, you're going, oh my God, he blew it. In reality, in a few days, in a week, this will be in the past and people will have already moved on. I mean, it's been 6 days now since the assassination attempt, and there's already people moving on and forgetting about it. So I don't think that this speech will be that impactful in the sense that it's going to really change the course of the election. Donald Trump was leading in the polls before the assassination attempt. He's leading afterwards, and he will lead after when there's polling after this speech. It will show him still in the lead. So I don't think it's that huge a deal. So he's going to, unless they do some crazy thing, he should win. And right now we're waiting for the Democrats to decide whether or not they're going to get rid of Biden, or more accurately, we're waiting for Biden to concede and say that he will walk away and let somebody else take the mantle and be the Democrat nominee. And isn't that ironic? You know, they spent the last 8 years talking about Donald Trump being a threat to democracy. Yet in 2016, they rigged their own primary, the Democrat Party, to make sure Bernie Sanders didn't win. They accused Donald Trump of being a Russian agent. And then now they're trying to force out the democratically nominated candidate in Joe Biden, who was voted on by the voters, in favor of somebody who the voters didn't vote for. Isn't that ironic? The party that is all about democracy seemingly does not like the democratic process. And when it comes to Donald Trump with the assassination attempt, well, they try to get rid of him by obviously violent means as well. So not a great look for the Democrat Party and their cries about protecting democracy. So it'll be interesting going forward. What's going to happen? Is this race over? Everybody said back in or on Sunday, this race is over. Trump won unless they try to take him out again. Is that the case? Like I say in all my videos, and I've said it a million times, anything can happen, anything is possible, and we're still 4 months away from the election. So who knows? I would love to say that this election's over, but our country is way too divided, way too polarized. They talk about Reagan back in '81 after he got shot, how he got a huge surge in polling and approval. And we're not seeing that quite with Donald Trump, partly because in '81 Reagan won in a landslide, so it was he was way ahead. It was a different environment, and now today again we are way too divided for even assassination attempt to move the needle that much in one direction. And as we've seen on Twitter, there's no shortage of people on the left who are apparently willing to go online and express their discontent that the shooter wasn't more accurate. So we got a lot of sickos out there, and I would love to see a poll done secretly to find out how many Democrats are secretly sorry that shooter missed. It's not just a small contingent of weirdos and creeps on the on the internet who go too far. Some really far left left people. I would guarantee probably half the Democrat Party was disappointed when they saw that Trump was okay. That is my suspicion. That's how much they hate this guy. So anyone thinking that this assassination attempt would move the needle so much that the election would be essentially over, unfortunately, I don't think so. And we have to see who they put up. Is it going to be Harris? Is it going to be Newsom, Shapiro, Whitmer? Who knows? A lot of surprises are still in store for us coming up, and it's going to be a wild ride, so hold on. Well, that's it for now. If you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.